From the Matrix Home Solutions studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Amy had to take off, as you heard earlier in the show. She was losing her voice, and it went. So, flying solo here. Yesterday, Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House spokeswoman, she addressed the border security issue with the end of Title 42 around the corner next week and its expected influx of migrants. And she said they're doing the work. They've done the work, which apparently hasn't reached Eric Adams in New York City, who wants $1 billion from the Fed, or Gavin Newsom, who is resplendent in his Armani and Dolce & Gabbana, doing a photo op at the border, suggesting that there's a problem and it's going to be visited upon California. Oh, really? You don't say. Here's what KJP said.
We have done the work from this administration by securing record funding, and we are asking Congress to act. We are not asking for political stunts. We continue to see political stunts from many Republicans out there, and that's not how we're going to fix this issue. They want to secure the border. We've been doing that work on our own. And we're asking them to, hey, you know what? There's an immigration reform plan that the president put out on the first day. They should work with us and do this in a bipartisan.
What? 1 million got away since President Biden took office, and they've been doing the work. They've been doing this on their own. Hey, little help here. Right. There's an immigration reform package on the table. Well, right. That's been rejected, but border security is still an imperative, regardless of what you want in return for it. Yeah. Peter Doocy was not called upon by KJP, but he was by Hannity. And he said, you know, what they're telling you about their sense of urgency on this matter of border security and the expiration of Title 42, he's not really feeling it.
The press secretary said that there's an all-of-government approach right now underway to figure out what happens after Title 42. But there isn't an all-of-government approach, because all we're hearing from guys in the Senate and in the House, the other branches of government, is that they have no idea what is going to happen next. Something else this White House is saying, well, if the border is going to get fixed, immigration is going to get fixed, Congress needs to act. But we heard from the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, today that they're not going to act for the remainder of this democratically controlled Congress. She said it's tied up in the courts. I know that officials here that I talked to would rather be talking about the economy. They would rather be focusing on the economy than immigration. They think that polls back them up with that. National interest in the economy is higher than immigration. But there is a potential for a real problem here next week. And it's not like this is a surprise. It's not like something happened that they didn't know was coming. We've known that this Title 42 deadline is coming for months. And there is, in theory, I've seen some headlines where it says the White House is scrambling to come up with answers and a plan. But I'm not feeling that kind of an urgency, at least not here.
For more on this topic and others, please be joined by Bret Baier, host of Fox News' Special Report, Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. Chicago time. Best-selling author of To Rescue the Republic, Ulysses S. Grant, The Fragile Union, and the Crisis of 1876. Bret, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Morning.
So there's a real sense of urgency about spending money, but not so much on securing the border, is what I'm gathering from Peter Doocy's reporting and what we're seeing the Senate and the House taking up at present.
Yeah, listen, there's a disconnect here with whatever KJP says at the White House podium and the reality on the ground in the southern border region. We've been down there for 2 years plus. Bill Malooch, correspondents. Other networks are now sending people there and having these breakthrough stories about all of these people that are coming across the border. It's really amazing. But we welcome the other coverage. I think that there is this sense on Capitol Hill that there aren't answers. When you have Senator John Tester, Democrat from Montana, saying we wrote letters to DHS and said we need an answer of what the plan will be after Title 42, and he said they never got back to him. You're starting to have Democrats, not just Henry Cuellar, but other Democrats really speak out on this issue of immigration because they realize how dangerous potentially it is.
Right, and this whole bipartisan support, comprehensive immigration reform, whatever Sinema and Tillis are trying to cobble together, that's all well and good. But if you have a humanitarian crisis on the border, which, again, as you sort of were sarcastically saying, is this revelation that has come to MSNBC this week, that's how they termed it, humanitarian crisis on the border per the reporting that they did, then you're going to have images that do not reflect well on the administration. Additional images, maybe images that are exponentially worse than the disturbing images we've already been witness to the last 2 years. Yeah,
definitely. And, it's interesting that the angle that a lot of those news outlets are taking is the horrible conditions of this journey. We've done that story, and we've talked to migrants who've made the journey, and they're right. It is horrible, but they're choosing to make it. We've also done stories about the horrible conditions in El Paso for the people who live there. Right. You have New York City Mayor Adams asking for something like $1 billion to deal with 17,000 migrants who have been bused there. Right. What is El Paso getting if New York City gets $1 billion? It's just a disconnect, and I think that there's going to be this reckoning when Title 42 is pulled away, that the influx will be unavoidable. It will be in your face, and the Border Patrol will tell you, we can't stop the cartels because it's like a water balloon. We hit them in one place and they go someplace else in the middle of this giant tidal wave of people.
We've got to turn our attention to the latest Trump venture. That would be Trump trading cards, as announced yesterday. And we talked about it a bit earlier in the program, trying to reconcile the two Trumps. The Trump that has a major announcement, trading cards, NFT, non-fungible tokens for $99 that have like his head on Iron Man's body. Okay, real collectible. So that's one Trump. And the other Trump, who is the Trump who posted a 6-minute video with a 5-point plan to ostensibly protect free speech rights in the era of big tech. So you have the sort of substantive policy Trump over here, and then you have the carnival barker over here. And it seems that more and more people, even who respect the policy guy on the one hand, that policy guy is being overwhelmed by the carnival barker on the other.
I think the most striking thing for me yesterday was Steve Bannon, who on his show, his podcast, said, I can't do this anymore. And he said, I think, this is Bannon speaking, I think he's the greatest president ever and the policies were fantastic, but this is ridiculous and whoever came up with this idea needs to be fired. The communications people, the whoever, they don't understand what's going on. And I do think that, it's been fairly quiet for the former president after his announcement. He hasn't done much. And so when this major announcement happened, there was all kinds of speculation about what it would be. And then when it came out that it was trading cards, it had a lot of ridicule from the left and the right. And I don't think it did the former president's campaign any good. And it only accelerated the people that said, hey, listen, I love the policies, but somebody else needs to take the banner.
Yeah, he's growing, as James Freeman and the Wall Street Journal call it, he's growing the not again Trump voter group, right? That they were with him, but he's pushing them when you've seen this in some of the recent polling, to say, yes, I want somebody with Trump's policies, the Republican primary electorate, majority of it saying that, but I don't want Trump. I want somebody else to do the things he did without doing some of the things that he also does.
Yeah, not a never Trumper, but a not again Trumper. Yeah,
right.
I think that's real. And I sense that it's not just polling; it's sort of talking to people who were big Trump supporters. I'm talking like financial supporters and backers who, even in the announcement, kind of tried to persuade him not to do it this early, but now have moved away. And I don't think they've landed at Ron DeSantis. I think they're still kind of in limbo, and there's a lot of time to go. But clearly, Ron DeSantis is in the pole position should he choose to run, come spring.
Well, Mitch McConnell may inadvertently give Trump an opportunity to move people's attention off of the trading cards and back to things more substantive because of this omnibus spending bill that is pending, where he seems to be willing to deal. And other than the lame duck caucus within the House Republicans, they don't. They have, understandably, smartly, I would say, Kevin McCarthy wants to push this off until after they take control post January 20th, so they have more control over the purse strings in the House. And so you've got a showdown between McCarthy and McConnell, and frankly, between sort of real conservative Republicans and Mitt Romney Republicans, Mitch McConnell Republicans.
Yeah, I think it'll be close in the end, but there are a number of Republicans retiring, and some of those people have worked on the inner workings of this omnibus spending bill. So I think Democrats will pick off those retiring Republicans, and the numbers, it all comes down to numbers, will be very tight. If I had to put money on it today, I would say that this omnibus passes, and there'll be outrage on the right, on the McCarthy side. They will use it politically, but in reality, they will, in some of their heart of hearts, be happy that they cleared the deck and they can start afresh January 3rd. That's not good for the country, as far as being able to fiscally look at everything that was passed in a 4,000-page bill with $2 trillion. But I think that's the inner workings of Washington.
Well, and it's also going to demoralize the base because they have suspicions about Kevin McCarthy to begin with, the quality of his leadership, what it's going to be in the House, how much of a fight he's going to put up, and it's going to send a signal that, it's still McConnell's party on the Hill, and Kevin McCarthy can't, what's the point of even a House Republican majority if you can't even block pork barrel spending bills? Yeah.
No, it's a fair point, and he's on the cusp of, on the edge of not having 218 votes too. So his pushback will be very loud, and they will be very boisterous in their opposition. I'm just saying it's going to be close, and if it passes, that's why it'll pass. Is retiring Republicans who are not seeking re-election, and also won't have to see the voters' wrath about it. We'll put this through probably.
Yeah, Adam Kinzinger, Republicans. No, we get it. Bret Baier, host of Fox News Special Report, weekdays 5 p.m. Chicago time. #1 best-selling author of To Rescue the Republic, Ulysses S. Grant, The Fragile Union, and The Crisis of 1876. Bret, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
You bet.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson here, and if you're a small business owner or make the marketing or advertising decisions for your business, then listen up.
Our annual Food for the Poor campaign is underway, and this year we're helping to raise money for children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean who are desperate for access to food.
Millions of people, including many children, are suffering because of food insecurity. They simply don't know where they will find their next meal.
Right now, throughout Latin America and the Caribbean, access to food has been cut off because of the devastating impact of COVID, natural disasters like earthquakes and hurricanes, as well as the rising price of food. And schools where many children have been able to get access to at least one daily meal have been closed or are now too expensive.
In agricultural communities, the planting and harvesting seasons have been limited or non-existent due to drought, flooding, and quarantine. The only thing between these